Okay, for my first game review, I'm doing Herdling by Panic, and I'm playing this on the Nintendo Switch, the older one. This has an ESBR rating of teen for blood and some violence, I believe. And the basic mechanic is that you are herding these sort of fuzzy, mammoth-y, yak-looking creatures through this landscape. And it's a little unclear from the get-go where you're trying to go. You're just moving them through the landscape. You move them by basically standing behind the herd and then kind of telling them, to move forward. And then to turn them, you sort of angle yourself at different directions. And you can sort of see a little point in front of the herd that shows the direction that they're going to go. You can also stop them with a verbal command, and you can make them stampede with another separate command. In the beginning, I was really excited to play this new game by Panic. I love Panic's games. I love a lot of what they do. You don't really know why you're this sort of child, this maybe teenage boy. It's a little hard to tell in this kind of urban landscape, and what these creatures are. So it reminds me a little bit of some games like Papo where it's a little unclear if you're living inside the imagination of somebody who's going through potentially some trauma or something, and this is a world that they're creating. And it's this sort of strange landscape that's a mix between really beautiful, kind of like Montana or something very rural, but then also this sort of sense of urban industrialism. And there's a highway at one point with cars going by. So it feels like you're the last person on Earth in some ways, but then there's this suggestion that there's this world of adults or other people who are having very separate lives out around you, but there's this massive distance between you and them. You're just hurting these yaks, basically. So I'm taking a breather, actually for a couple days, and then I'm going to come back to this. Okay, so I played Herdling about 30 more minutes, and one of the things that I actually noticed more were problems with the Nintendo Switch, actually. So Herdling, I loved it. I sort of wanted to keep playing it maybe like a full hour or get further in the game because I was really intrigued by this world that was getting built. But I'm 50 years old. My eyesight is garbage from working on screens so much. And I found on the really small Switch screen, my eyes started to get really tired. And I had to look really, really closely at the screen to see the kind of point of the wand where I was directing the yaks. So I actually almost moved it over to my TV with an HDMI cable. And I actually will probably try that for a third round later to see if that helps, because I actually found that the small screen on the Switch actually really got in the way of me immersing myself in the gameplay. And it was mostly an eye fatigue thing. So I think my takeaway from that actually was really thinking about portable consoles, small screen devices in relation to accessibility. My generation grew up with video games. I mean, I didn't start playing games until later in life. But I had friends who had Frogger on like tiny little consoles and stuff. So I think there's probably a pretty big demographic of gamers who have issues with eye strain and who might like to play like casual games on a phone, but that size of the small screen gets in the way. So I'm sure there's solutions, especially now with foldable screens. But that was my big takeaway was an accessibility issue with the Switch more than anything else. So maybe I'll do another round of gameplay after I get it on the TV with the HDMI cable. But so far, it's a beautiful game, very mysterious, a lovely concept, lovely mechanic, and I'm really looking forward to playing it more.